Hi, during this brief video, I'm going to show you how to allocate sales receipts to invoices in Xero. So I know many of you watching this video will go, well, hey, you've got a bank feed set up here, John. So why would I need to do that? And you can see, yeah, I've got a bank feed here and I've got some receipts coming in. So if they matched against a sales invoice, then I'd be able to just sort that out. But not every bank account has a bank feed. There may be different people processing the bank reconciliation that are dealing with the sales invoices, and perhaps we have credit card receipts where the invoices aren't originally submitted from Xero. So we get credit card receipts coming in, we don't know how to allocate them. So we may need to do that manually as and when things happen. There may be time delays on remittance advices. It's not a case that every time we receive some money, it goes directly into the bank account. We might get a remittance advice and it's going to be a week before the invoices get paid. So we're going to want to keep our sales ledger up to date because we don't want to be sending statements out and we don't want to be chasing people for money that have paid. And if there is a time lag between the money hitting our bank feed and the receipt of that information, then it's better to just keep our records up to date. So if I had a remittance advice come into me and I knew that a customer was paying a particular invoice, I could go to business and invoices. I could go to the waiting payment tab and do a search on that. And then I can just find the invoice from that section. So if a customer was paying, so Bayside Club, let's say they're paying this £234 invoice here, I could click on it, I could hit deposit, I could decide what date it's going to be paid. So let's assume that we've received the remittance advice and they've told us it's going to be paid on Friday. I could put a reference in. I don't have to, but I can do. And then I can choose a bank account. So let's just say this is going to be paid into our business bank account. Okay. And then I'd hit the deposit button and that would be it. So if I wanted to do it that way, I'd hit the deposit button, job done. Invoice 38 is then, as far as Xero concerned, it's being paid. So if I run a statement to the 21st of April or beyond, it will show as being paid. I won't send invoice reminders out to this client automatically from Xero because the invoice is being paid. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Let's just cancel that second. So if I've got a remittance advice and it's paying multiple invoices, perhaps Bayside Club are actually paying both of those invoices. This is how I would allocate multiple sales invoices to one receipt. I'd be able to tick the items that relate to it, hit the deposit button, and again, now what we can see on this page is that we've got both the items listed. Now, what I normally do in the reference, particularly if I'm paying more than one invoice, is I would enter the name of the customer or some other relevant piece of information in here. The reason being that will appear on the bank feed when someone's doing a bank reconciliation. So it'll say payment and then Bayside Club, and it might just make it a bit easier for the person doing the reconciliation to see that information. Okay, so I could have 10, 15, 25 invoices on here, however many are on the remittance advice. Obviously, when I do allocate the invoices on the previous scheme, when I've ticked these items here, I can also have a running check up here to say what the value is. So I will need to make sure that that amount of money actually totals back to the remittance advice that we've received so that when it comes through into the bank, it all ties up nice and neatly. The other way that we can do it is we can just do a search from general search. So we've got Bayside Club's invoice here, number 38. Global search doesn't work in the demo company, but if it did, what I'd be able to do is just do a search on invoice 38 up here. That would pop up in the list. I could click onto it, and that effectively is the same as going into an invoice. So here's the invoice. If I was doing just an individual payment, I might choose to just hit add payment from here. Again, I can specify which date that's going to come into the bank account, which bank account I want it to go into. I can also add a reference here if I want to, but ultimately this is great if you're doing just one payment. So where this can work is perhaps we've received this money, it's being paid by credit card, so I can add a reference on here. Perhaps on each credit card slip I get a payment reference. So I might be able to put the payment reference in there, and then again, that's just going to make it easier for the person who's doing the bank reconciliation, that when this money hits our bank account, that it all ties up. Now, we may have more than one credit card receipt on a day, so the credit card information that will appear on a bank rec will normally tell you the day of the payment. So if we do things in this manner, and they're all dated 17th of April, perhaps I've got 3 or 4 different receipts come in on that day. When they come through on the bank feed, as long as I put a similar reference in there, obviously change it for the actual card slip number. But if they all begin with CC, I will be able to find a match, go to that date, hopefully tick my 3 or 4 items, and that will add back to the amount. So again, we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for people when they're doing the bank reconciliation to find the information. And ultimately, this will keep your records up to date. So if this invoice, if that payment is not going to come through my bank account for 3 or 4 days, and I wait until it appears on the bank feed before I decide to match it, that's 3 or 4 days that I'm potentially going to be sending out invoice reminders. I may send statements during that period of time. So if there is a time lag, I would recommend doing it in this way, because at least then you're not going to be sending out chasers to customers for invoices when they've genuinely already paid them.